Happy Wednesday, scholars. Miss Cupp here with your favorite Wednesday dancing cat gif. My cat is currently glaring at me from across the room, but this one's really happy. So happy Wednesday. We've made it halfway through the week. Let's rock and roll. So we are going to continue investigating the connections between division and multiplication, but we're going to spice it up. And instead of having you practice with me for most of today, you'll actually be on Splash Learn. Pew, 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 pew. Yep, you'll be on Splash Learn. So before we get to Splash Learn, I want to show you some of the stuff that you'll be practicing. So basically what we're going to be practicing today is transforming or translating those division equations into multiplication equations, or those multiplication equations into division equations, vice versa. So just as a reminder, when we have our division equations, we know that this number right here that starts us off, this is our total number of things. So in this case, let's say I had 12 cupcakes and I want to split them into 4 groups. This division equation tells me that I would have 3 cupcakes in each group. So it would look, if it was an array, like if I had this, each of these dots is a cupcake. Drawing the arrays always helps me think about it. So there's 4 rows. Each row has 3 in them, or there's 3 columns for a total of 12 cupcakes. Now, when I write that like a multiplication equation, this is how I would translate it. The total number of things that's indicated by the first number in the division equation becomes my product. We know that the answer to a multiplication equation, or the total, is a product. It is A, it is A, it is A. Yeah, it's a product. Some of you were talking with Ms. Hendricks and Mr. Cody yesterday, and we seem to be really tricked up by that word product. Product is just a really fancy word for the answer to a multiplication equation, or the total amount of things. I'll write it below. It's kind of sloppy because it's hard to write on here, but we're trying. So this is also called our product. Now, that becomes our end number when we translate our division equation into a multiplication equation. Now, the number in the division equation that comes after the division sign, we know we read this as 12 things, 12 cupcakes split into 4 groups. Now, the 4 groups then becomes the start to our multiplication equation, because we know that when we read our multiplication equation, we always say 4 groups of, and then however many are in each group. When we do a division equation, we know that we read this split into 4 groups. So in this case, we have our total 12. They're being split into 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, right? So that just comes over here, and that same number still means the same thing. The fact that there's 4 groups in our multiplication equation, that just starts us off. Now, what's been tricking some of us up, I think, is this word quotient. Just like product means the answer to a multiplication equation, quotient means the answer to a division equation. What the quotient tells us is the amount in each group. So the quotient actually refers to the 3 dots in each of these groups. It refers to what you would skip count by. I know you can't really see that because it's kind of bright green. It refers to how many are in each group. There are 3 dots. There are 3 cupcakes in each group. We just call it our quotient because in this case, that's our answer to the division equation. When we translate this division equation into a multiplication equation, the quotient just comes to that second factor, because we know the second factor in a division equation, in a multiplication equation, always tells us how many are in each group. It's the same thing here. When we translate it to a multiplication equation, this factor here tells us the amount in each group. It just happens to end it when it's in a division equation. So what you're going to be doing when you get to your Splash Learn today is you'll be practicing finding the total or finding the product when you're given an array. So it'll give you an array of pictures, and you'll have to find the product using your knowledge of multiplication. So for example, in case I didn't know there were 12 cupcakes in this array, I would go 4 times 3, 4 groups of 3 equals 3, 6, 9, 12. That's a total of 12. That's exactly what you're going to have to do. You're also, in your second practice assignment, going to be seeing either a division equation, and then it's your job to translate it into a multiplication equation, or you'll see a multiplication equation, and it's your job to sort of translate it into this. So I'm going to show you exactly what this is going to kind of look like in a practice account. And before we continue, I do want to let you know that this is actually going to be our word of the day today. So quotient is our word of the day because it seemed that we were having some vocab trouble in our quiz. So I want you to get used to using the word quotient. Remember, it is the end, it is the answer to a division equation, but it also tells us the amount that goes in each group. So it tells us that when we have 12 things and we split them into 4 groups, the quotient, the amount in each group, will be 3 in each group. So when it gets to that question in your form, make sure you type in the word quotient. I'll be sure to flash the spelling for you though. So we will be using Splashlearn today for our practice. Really quick, if you have your scratch paper and your pencil out already, here are your access codes that you can quickly jot down, depending on either what homeroom you're at Hadley, or if you go to Maryville, just go ahead and jot down your access code. If you maybe are watching this video and then you're going to do the Splashlearn in a little bit, the access codes can also always be found on Google Classroom, linked in the document that is linked to this assignment, or it's always found in resources. I'll show you where you can find them in a little bit. So let's go to Splashlearn. So now that we're on Splashlearn, I'll show you exactly where to find how to log in. So you're going to click this button here. Here, I'll do the mouse thing so you can really see where I'm focused. So you're going to click this button, sign in, right here. Now, I know it says that choose class or home. I do want you to choose class. It's not a really big deal. Then you're going to enter your class code. Those were those letters that I showed you before. I'm going to enter UVAs because my fake student account is on UVAs. So I would type in NGRAGJ. If you are in another homeroom, you type in your other access code. As you see, it automatically will bring me here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my name. In this case, it's the test account. And then everyone's password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of fun to just like draw your finger along the tip. Then we will log in, we click sign in, and it'll be taken here. So you'll see right here that we have your to-do list. Your to-do list is always what we look at first. So you see that you have 2 assignments here. You have multiply using pictures, and you have relate division and multiplication. I would like you to do this assignment first. That's why it's listed first. So when you click on this, you'll click start. You get to hear the fun sounds.
Which multiplication expression is represented by the array?
So it'll always also read you the directions. So it's my job here. I have to pick which of these multiplication expressions. Sorry, I'm going to turn the sound off because it got really loud there. So I have to pick which of these expressions match my array. So in this case, I'm thinking, okay, I know this is a 3 by 3. I'm going to click this button here. Since I got it correct,
which multiplication expression is represented by the array?
It gives me a coin. So you're just going to keep doing that. So say, for example, I get tricked and I get it wrong, right? So say I do, maybe I count the rows wrong, and instead of clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I say it's a 6 by 3 instead of a 5 by 3, which it is. What happens is it'll come up and say like, oops, you got it wrong. And then it'll tell you what the correct answer is. What I want you to do is see like when you get the correct answer, double check, be like, okay, this says the answer is a 5 by 3. That means I should see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows and 3 columns. Oops, I got tricked and clicked 6 by 3. That's showing me that like maybe I goofed up and I miscounted my rows. So then you'll click next.
Which multiplication expression is represented by the array?
And then you'll keep going. The goal is to earn as many coins as possible because when you earn coins, you can spend them on like changing the world and fun things like that. So once you level out and you get your complete, it'll automatically take you to the next assignment, which is to relate division and multiplication. So once you finish doing your multiply using pictures assignment, this won't say resume anymore because you'll be done. You'll go to relate division and multiplication. When you get to this assignment, these are the types of things that you might see. I'm going to walk through a couple practice problems with you.
Division sentence.
Great. So, oh my gosh, look, it's an array. It's almost like Ms. Cupp planned this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this array and I'm going to say, okay, so I need to figure out the total that matches this. And then I need to figure out how many rows and columns there are. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many rows I have. I see that it is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I know that this is some number divided by 5 equals. And I know that there is 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group. So I'm going to put that as my quotient. And what I can do to quickly solve this is I can count it. So I'm going to count by 5. So I'm going to count by the column since that's quicker. 5, 10, 15, 20. I could even mark it down here as I do it. So I know that there's a total of 20 penguins, apparently, broken up into 5 groups with 4 penguins in each group. Because as a reminder, this is my total, this is my number of groups, and this is my amount in each group. We also would call this our quotient. So I would then look for the number sentence that matches this. 20 divided by 5 equals 4. 20 split into 5 groups equals 4 in each group, and click that.
Choose the correct division sentence.
So it's another one. Okay, here's my array. And thinking to myself, okay, how many rows are there? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So again, I know that this is some number split into 5 rows equals, and then there's 2 in each row. I just counted how many were in each group. The groups are even shaded for me, which is kind of nice to break them up. So I then know that this needs to be some number split into 5 groups equals 2 in each group. Thinking about this like a multiplication equation would be really helpful, because 5 times 2 equals, I know that's 5, 10. If I do 2 groups of 5, or I go 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 for 5 groups of 2 equals 10. So I know there's a total of 10. I think those are kiwis. Those look like little kiwi fruits. So this is 10 kiwis split into 5 groups equals 2 in each group. You are also more than welcome to just count. So then I'm looking, okay, this seems to match, this number sentence seems to match, and I click, and I'm earning more coins as I go.
Division sentence.
All right. Now it's asking me, okay, look at this multiplication number sentence and transform it into a division sentence. So what I'm going to do here to practice is I'm going to write the multiplication sentence they gave me, and then I'm just going to reverse it. I'm going to think, okay, so this is my total. I know that in division, because it's the opposite, because it's the opposite of multiplication. I know if I end with this total in multiplication, I need to split that total apart in division. So this would be 20 something, 20 stars maybe, 20 Cheerios, 20 marbles split into. And then I know that if I read this multiplication sentence, this is 5 groups of 4. So I know this groups thing, if I comes to here, this groups factor comes to here, because I'm thinking this needs to read 20 split into some number of groups. My multiplication sentence says it's 5 groups. So I'm going to say 5. And then I know then that there'll be 4 in each group, because if 4 groups of 5, excuse me, I just read that backwards. If 5 groups of 4 equals 20, well, if I take that 20 and then split it back into those 5 groups, I know that there'll be 4 in each group. So I will click the related division sentence.
Choose the related division sentence.
So again, similar, I'm going to show one more strategy on how to solve this before I let you guys rock and roll on your own. So this is 2 times 2 equals 4. So this is saying there are 2 groups of 2 in each group. So I might even draw an array here. So there's 1, 2 groups, my 2 rows with 2 in each group. I know this is a 2 by 2. Could even draw it like this if you wanted to. This is a 2 by 2. And so I'm thinking, okay, how do I represent this as a division equation? Okay, I know I have a total of 4 dots in this case. If I split them into 2 groups, into this group here, I'll see if I can do it in another color. If I split it into this group here and this group here, those are my 2 groups, I see that I indeed have 2 in each group. 1, 2, 1, 2. So 4 circles divided into or split into 2 groups equals 2 circles per group. Looking for my answer that matches that, I click there, boom. Now, say you get tripped up. So I just went ahead and moved my paper because I ran out of room at the bottom there. Say you get tripped up on a question and maybe I get a little confused and I click that the division equation that matches this is 12 split into 6 groups because I see 2 6s there. This is what I want you to do for an equation you get wrong. So this was my fifth one. So first write the multiplication equation or whatever the first equation that they give you is. And I want you to translate it into words. So in this case, I know that this is 6 groups of 1 equals 6 total. I'll move it so you can actually see all of my writing. Now, it tells you the correct answer is 6 divided by 6 equals 1. What I want you to do with the division equation is also write it in words. So in this case, I know that 6 split into 6 groups equals 1 in each group. I was going to run out of room, so I just stacked my words on top of each other. This is going to help you start to recognize where the same parts are in the multiplication and division equation. For example, 6 groups of 1. I know that means this part here. I see 6 groups. 6 groups is also in my division equation. That's what this 6 is here. That's what this 6 is here. I also see 6 total. Well, my 6 total things are also in my division equation. So I know that this 6 means my product of 6 total things. This is saying, yes, well, those 6 total things split into those 6 groups means there's going to be 1 in each group. I can also find 1 in each group. I'll kind of make a squiggly around it so you can see. I can also find that 1 in each group in my multiplication equation because it tells me right here, 6 groups of 1. That means there's 1 in each group, in each of my 6 groups. Alrighty, my friends. So if you get a question wrong, I would like you to try to write it in words. I'll demonstrate one more time.
Choose the related division sentence.
So say I get tripped up. Say when I'm solving this, I think, okay, 7 times 9 equals 63. And I just somehow get tricked. And I click that 56 divided by 7 equals 8. Even though I wouldn't really click that because there's no 8 factor in here. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it in words. 7 groups of 9 equals 63. Now I'm going to write the correct equation that they give me, which is 63 divided by 7 equals 9. And I'm going to say 63 split into 7 groups equals 9 in each group. Remember, when we write things out in words, it actually helps us memorize them better. So that's why I'm having you do this. Also, it's going to help you, like I said before, recognize where the same parts of your equations are. So again, if you get a question wrong, please write it out like this. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoy practicing your splash learn. Remember that when you get to splash learn, what you'll do is you'll go back to the form. There's only 2 questions that you need to answer in order to get to the end of the form. It's just what was the last division equation that I just solved, and you saw me write down. I even wrote it in words. And then also what was today's magic word? Reminder, we went over it when we were going over the slides. It is what a mathematician would call the answer to a division equation. It starts with a Q. If you want some quick spelling help, I'll flash how to spell it in a second. So once you go ahead and you click submit on that, once you type in the fact the classroom, and then you can either click back into this assignment and find those Splash Learn directions here where it has your access code, or you can always go to resources where it's literally the first option right here. So if you forgot to write down your access code during the video, make sure you use those. And then another reminder, this practice will take you a different amount of time depending on how well you do. If you're noticing it's taking you a long time and you're continuing to get really tricked, go ahead and hold off and go to office hours with Mr. Cody or Miss Hendricks to see if they can help you before you finish up the practice. I don't want you spending a huge amount of time on this, but I do want you making sure that we're getting our practice in. Happy solving, my friends, and I hope you enjoy your Splash Learn day. Bye.